All right, you guys, chapter 13 is managing your clients. We'll jump right in with chapter or lesson 13.1, booking and client flow. So, using a booking system is obviously going to be really helpful, but honestly, when you're first starting out, don't put all the money out there. You're just starting your business, and we honestly think DMs or texts are more than enough and a great way to save money. Obviously, once it gets to a point where it's very overwhelming and you have a lot of clients, definitely look into Gloss Genius, Square, Acuity. There's so many out there. I even forget the one we use. It's a little bit more dated, but we used to use it back then. To be quite honest, even now, I actually went off of the platforms and I just do it in Google calendar because I only have a set amount of clients and they are really good about just texting months in advance. So it's really easy for me and that's what I use. So I actually don't use a platform. But yeah, these websites are really great because they allow for online booking. There's automatic reminders where it'll text the clients, it'll email them if you want. There's policies and deposit requirements that you can have them it'll just bring them straight to that. And then there's a secure payment collection. So, they have to put in their cards for some. And if they cancel or no show, it's gonna charge their card. So that's really great. Other just client flow tips, I would say in between clients or just before, make sure you get to your place or be prepared 15 to 20-ish minutes before your client comes in. Sanitize, reset, set up everything. I, for example, like to put all of my disposables out, get my tweezers out of the bar side, make sure it's good, lay out the trays that I'm gonna be using. I also cut the tapes and have them sticking on the side so that I'm all ready to go. Turn on my music, make it all nice and cozy. And then always my clients come a little bit early, or for the most part. So if they're early, I can take them in and I'm gonna be even earlier for my next appointments, which I really love. So definitely make sure you give yourself time for that. And then obviously if they're a first time client, make sure that you definitely come in 15 to 20 minutes before and have them maybe come in even 15 minutes before so you can go over the consent form, go over what they're looking for, discuss, talk, evaluate, and all of that too. Cancellation policies, I would say definitely try to make sure you have some sort of policy in place, especially in the beginning. You don't want your time wasted, and every hour is money for us. So I would say 24 to 48 hours of a cancellation notice is the bare minimum you should require. And do a cancellation fee, you cannot. I would say definitely if they're canceling between or less than 24 hours or up to 24 hours before, you definitely should charge that, or even 48 hours if you want. And then I definitely think you should do a no-show fee for sure. It's been so long since I've dealt with these because my clients really are so great now because again, I pick and chose, and now I have a built-in clientele that works for me. So I don't think I ever did a no-show fee, but you should. I think you should. And then again, make sure that your policy is very clear, whether that's on your site or in your Instagram or a highlight. I love those. I usually do look at highlights when I'm looking for a new business, a new service, just so I understand kind of briefly what their policies are. Definitely on your site though. And then if anything, even when I was first starting out and I didn't have a website and all of that, I would send the policies with my text in response to them so they knew. And I would send even the aftercare text after. So you can definitely live without any of these platforms and systems. It's just once you are really busy and have a full clientele, it could really help. Lesson 13.2 is client red flags and boundaries. So obviously not every client is going to be the right fit for you, and you are not going to be the right fit for every client. And that is the beauty of beauty services, right? You get to find people that work for you. People get to find artists that work for them. It's a lot about personality, style, expertise, specialties, all of that, right? Time, schedules, the way you work, it's all of that. So some red flags to just look out for is if they are always late or no showing. I am such a prompt person, so I really cannot do late people or consistently late people. So my clients are really good. If anything, again, you really end up choosing your clientele that works for you. If anything, my girls are usually a little bit early, if anything. If they have poor hygiene consistently and you've spent the time to educate and talk to them already, that's a red flag. You want to make sure that your clients are respecting your work and your time. So that could be a red flag. If they have unrealistic expectations, so let's say they want you to be done in 30 minutes for fills and they want to switch styles every single time and they're upset if a style isn't being able to be accomplished one fill after another, anything like that, definitely make sure that you're communicating first and foremost. But if this is just who they are, then you might not be the artist for them, and that is such a beautiful thing to understand and have peace with, is you're just not going to be the artist for everyone, and that's okay. That's why there's so many artists, and that's a good thing. Disrespecting boundaries, so people who are trying to bribe you about your policies, make you compromise on your policies, who are messaging late in the hours or just in your off time and you've communicated that that's not going to work for you. Again, the big thing here is make sure you communicate your expectations, make sure you understand their expectations so that you guys can work together on having this good relationship. And then if there's constant complaints or whatnot, then again, we have to be self-aware and make sure that we're doing the best of our abilities to make sure everything's great. But if they're constantly complaining just about the little things, like, oh, there's this one here, oh, there's this one here, it's very anxiety inducing, and maybe you're just not the artist for them. So I personally would rather them find someone that can make it perfect for them every time, because I know I'm just not a perfect artist. So communication, obviously we do the best we can, but there comes to a point where maybe this isn't the best relationship to have. No is a beautiful word. It is something that I think we constantly have to remember and practice using, but you can say no. Of course, in the beginning, I always say this, there's that scrappy founder, hardworking beginning part where you're taking everyone and everything. I literally think I took everyone at the beginning and dealt with so many crazy situations. But as time goes on and as you understand and build more confidence, make sure you learn how to say no. Make sure that you have a strong stance on lateness and no-shows, right? I would say 1 no-show if they have a good reason, okay. But if it's 2, that's just not a respect of your time. 2, make sure you just say no, and make sure you're able to communicate about hygiene issues. I know it could be a sensitive topic, but you want to make sure that their retention is lasting long so that they're happy, so they don't have to spend money every other week to come in. You want to make sure that they also just are clean and hygienic themselves, and you want to make sure that you're not having to do extra work just because someone doesn't want to do their part in the service, okay? And for unrealistic expectations, again, I think you really, after so many years of lashing, it's just all about the way you communicate it. And as long as your heart is in a good place and you're doing things nicely, they will understand. So definitely say things like, I totally understand, but da 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 da. I completely understand, but these are my policies. I completely understand, but these are your natural lashes, and this is what I would recommend. I would love to build up to it over time. I would love to get there. I would love to be able to do that, but unfortunately, I'm not able to, so I can help you find another artist. Kindness goes such a long way, and remember, even if they're not going to be your forever client, that is word of mouth that it's gonna go out, whatever their experience is with you. And I had to learn professionalism and getting my things together in the beginning as well, but that's something that you will learn over time. And really, I could say, as a veteran artist, just make sure you're treating everyone with the utmost respect and love and kindness, even if they're not the client for you. And even if, obviously if they're super rude to you, there's a point where you just need to stop responding and just say, end it and cut things there. But try your very best, because that's a word of mouth that's gonna be out there, okay? And then remember, it is okay to end client relationships. I think we have great prompts on here. Something like, hey, blank name, I really appreciate your support, but I feel we may not be the best fit moving forward. I want you to love your lash experience, and I think another artist might be better aligned with what your needs are. Wishing you all the best. That's a great way to put it. And again, it is okay to do this, you guys. If they, I'm pretty sure I've had to end some client relationships, and it was probably with the tardiness or just, I don't know, whatever other issues, but it is totally okay. Again, I'm gonna keep saying this, in the beginning, you gotta be a little bit more flexible because you're building your skill sets and you're not all the way there yet. But of course, have respect for yourself and for them too. And no one wants to be in a bad relationship, whether it's in a beauty service or friendship or relationship or partnership, whatever it is. The beauty, and there is a confidence to be able to end things when the time comes, okay? And protect your energy, you guys. I mean, really, when you run this business, we'll talk about the marketing and the admin and the actual service itself and the inventory. And there's so many things you have to do. So you gotta make sure that your clients work for you and get to the point that you can do so. A lot of people are surprised that I still lash, and I really do, because one, I really love my clients, I really do, and I've gotten to the point where I'm very comfortable and confident with all of their lashes, so it's really easy, and I just love them. Two, I need the extra money, so it's a great, side thing now for me. And three, again, everything just works so well with my schedule because I'm able to lash in the morning, keep my skill sets, understand new products, try things out, understand the struggles of day-to-day artists. I still want to be in the game, especially all of us here at Alon, because we do really want to keep up with what are the struggles, how can we improve this, are the new things in the industry worth it? Is it worth your time? Is it going to make it easier? And all these things, I want to still be in the game. So I have a lot going on, but I still lash because it works, and I can completely protect my energy because my clients are absolutely wonderful. And when you get to that point, it's just a beautiful thing. Like, I love lashing, to be honest. So that's that. Lesson 13.3 is the client experience. So again, it's all about the experience. Everything in this world is all about experience. So make sure that you are creating a good experience from them. And that starts with, we've talked about it, your space, right? Making sure your space is nice and comfy and beautiful and clean and hygienic. Make sure that things are cozy. You want nice, comfortable blankets and beds. And even, I mentioned previously in the chapters, but you don't have to invest into these crazy beds and whatnot for it to be comfortable. You can get the bare minimum massage bed and just get a really affordable Tempur-Pedic mattress on top, and it is cloud-like. I actually think my clients might have liked that more than the current bed we have, and the current bed we have are one of the really expensive ones. So yeah, it's not always about spending the money, okay? But make sure you have blankets, pillows, calm music. I do a piano jazz, very calm. I don't know if everyone likes it, to be honest. It's very, very calm, but I like it. And then they always nap, so that's a good thing. And then make sure that, yeah, you can have any other, services such as like a hydrating lip mask or biogel eye pads, whatever, to make it more comfy for them. Communication, that is very important, obviously, in the experience, making sure that you have like a welcome text, send them information they need, check on them, confirm aftercare, FAQs after, make sure that that's all there. That's truly what I look for when I look for beauty service providers, is I look for like whatever information I could get there and then. For me, I really appreciate if I could see price somewhere, policies, location, previous work, all of that. Definitely their space. That's huge for me because, again, you are creating an experience, not just your art, okay? And then rebooking, make sure that it is super easy in terms of the client experience. Either have automatic emails, or they could do so online by themselves, or mine, again, I don't even use a booking site, but they just text me a bunch of months in advance and I let them know, and I'm totally happy and okay with that. But make sure it's easy, because those are the clients that you want, the ones that are gonna keep coming back, okay? All right, 13.4 is retention troubleshooting. So obviously you're going to run into bad retention. That's just a part of the game. All of us have dealt with it. Sometimes it is your fault. Most of the times it probably is our responsibility and our fault. Something's off, but it could also be them. So let's talk about why you might have bad retention. One, could be glue issues. You could be using the wrong speed. It could be old adhesive. Your temperature and humidity in the space could be not ideal for it. If you're not dipping enough, or if you're dipping too little, those are all things to watch out for. Two, bad attachment or weak attachment. So let's say you don't lash wrap, or too much or too little glue is part of attachment as well, or you're not putting the extension on enough surface space of the natural lashes themselves, or if you're touching the skin or you're too close, things like that. The client habits themselves, so they need to be, if they don't clean their lashes, obviously it's gonna fall off. If they rub or pick and pull, if they use a lot of oily skincare or makeup around the eye area, that can play into effect. And then also remember, there is that aspect of the natural cycle too, and what part they're in, okay? And then how to handle client complaints. Most importantly is, I think, really to validate their experience, because it is frustrating. I think we can all put ourselves in that shoe. And if we got a beauty service and we're A, not 100% happy, two, it didn't come out like what we expected, or three, it didn't last the amount of time we did, and we spent so much money, because beauty services are really expensive, we can understand why people get upset and they're not happy. So number one thing for me whenever I get any sort of feedback is, remember, it is not try not to be defensive. It's not personal a lot of times. Most of the times it's not personal. It's not about you. It's about this thing. And that is aside from you as a person, right? So try to do that. Try to stay calm, listen to them, validate their feelings. Then ask questions of, okay, do you sleep on that side? Did you do anything that was oil inducing? You know, just try to ask questions and get to know and figure out why instead first, and then offer discounted or complimentary touch-ups. Even to this day, you guys, I have retention issues sometimes and do, complimentary touch-ups or I do discounted touch-ups, and I have no problem doing so because I appreciate them for letting me know. I appreciate them for giving me a chance to fix it, and that is okay, Obviously, don't make it a habit of, okay, every week they're not having good retention and they want a discount for their fill. Obviously, that's not good either. But, if you know that it's something, or even on the day of, sometimes I can feel when my retention's not going well and I don't know what it is, and it is a frustrating lash date and I just know it. But that is okay, that happens, and we should take accountability and make sure that we do our part in providing the best service possible. And that does come with fixing problems, okay? And then obviously, most importantly, it's always educate your clients, because a lot of the things on their part can be avoided if they know what to do. A lot of the things on your part can be also avoided if you understand everything and what plays into retention, so make sure that you do, all right? And then lesson 13.5 is product knowledge and retail add-ons. Oh, we kind of touched base on this already, but things to include in your client kits, which is for your clients so that they can take care of their lashes, also for you to make a little bit more monetary sales, but a lash shampoo, cleansing brush, mascara wand, obviously, mini lash fan if you want, and aftercare cards. And we do have all of those, and you can buy in bulk too if you're going to be selling a lot of them. Make sure that all products after that they are going to use skincare and makeup wise are lash safe, which is going to be most importantly oil-free makeup and skincare, at least around the eye area, okay? Suggest silk pillowcases. I mean, silk pillowcases are good for our skin and our hair anyways, so yeah, it's just good to have in general, but they're good for, lash retention as well. And then of course, trying to sleep on your back, but some people just can't, and that's okay too. And then obviously avoid heat, extreme heat, such as steam or sauna or anything like that. If your client does go to those, because for example, I do go every single day. So again, that could make me not a great lash extension client potential, but if they do, it's the communication, it's talking. I have girls where they do a lot of activities and whatnot, and that's fine. We do 1.5 week fills, and it's at a little bit of a discounted price, and we're both okay and happy with that. So all about communication, like we always say. And then beginner versus pro kits that you could sell. So I would say the basics for a kit is you're going to be your shampoo, a brush, and then you should give them a mascara wand and a client card, an aftercare card if it's not on your website or on a highlight or in a text. Those are just beginner, and then you can add on things such as the fan itself. You can add on the drip bottle. You can add on sealants, because lash sealant is also for the client to use. It is something that we can also use at the end of our service after bonder, but the clients can also use it. It's almost just a seal on the lashes so that it doesn't allow for any dirt, oils, residues to adhere to the actual lashes. So that's something they could use too. You can even sell eyeliner that's oil-free. That could be cool. And then, yeah, anything else that you want to add, you can do different tiers of your after kits, and obviously charge more for the more items there are. So that is lesson 13.5. That is all for chapter 13, you guys. The ending chapters are shorter, of course, but that is all. You guys already know what's coming. Pause here, go and take the chapter 13 quiz. Make sure that you're getting 100% on all your quizzes in order to 100% complete and fulfill this course. You are going to need that as one of the things in order for you to get your certification with us. So make sure you understand everything, make sure you're processing, and I will see you back in chapter 14, which is going to be marketing for your business. Super fun, but go ahead and do that first, you guys.